Okay, perfect, Jonathan. Tell me your name and tell me a little bit about your business.
Oh my gosh, I'm Jonathan Geyer, and my business is CX Measurements. Exactly as it sounds, what we are is a marketing company. What do we do? Market. How do we do it? The best way you possibly can do it. Yeah. Market domination. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, how do you think about profit creation in your business? Now, walk us through your mindset all the way to tactical process and how you proactively address things like gross margins in your business, contribution margins for sales and marketing. What is your framework for the creation of profit in your business?
Oh my gosh, that's a deep one. High probability I'm going to miss some parts here. I'm diving in anyway. I'm leveraging Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer, $100 million leads, those frameworks. Oh my gosh, I've listened to both of those books. I listened to audiobooks 6+ times this year and a few times, in previous years. But that's the big one. So first, determining the offer, getting the maximum amount of money you possibly can per offer, right? Like so much that it hurts your customers a little bit. And for Alex Hormozi's logic, because then you get some of the buy-in. Like it's got to be at that stinging point. It costs enough that it hurts a little bit, and finding that
And,
point, right?
and do you is the sting subjective? Like, do you feel the sting coming on, or are you seeing it in the data where your sales cycle volume, velocity, or conversion completely change?
Oh my gosh, I'm talking from the customer's perspective. I'm going to charge them the maximum amount that they're able and willing to pay, right? And then on the backside, I am building my offer to match what that number is. So I'm determining I'm determining the cost before I'm determining the offer. And that's from the $100 million logic. So I decide how much money I want to make, regardless of what I'm going to give them. Like I decide what I want to get first before I decide what I want to give them. And that's a measure of their situation, empathetically walking in their shoes, understanding where their business is at. How much could they give me? And then on the backside, I determine, what could I add to this offer to make it 10 times more valuable than what they're paying me, or 100 times more valuable than what they're paying me? And then from there, I crunch all the other numbers. But really, the first is what's the maximum amount I could possibly get? So much so that it hurts my customers a little bit. Why? To get their buy-in, like so they take it seriously. Because some of the stuff we do involves them. Like some of the portions of success are dependent on them, right? And I care that they care. And one of the psychological ways to get that is to charge enough that they care, right? So it's like starting with the psychological elements, then it's dialing back to the actual numbers, the actual finance, but starting with the mind and then going to the wallet.
Hey Jamie, Tom Shipley. I aggregate businesses. I founded a ecom and Amazon aggregator, raised $100 million to do that. I have another platform that's called Agency Ventures Aggregator, where we're rolling up advertising agency. And a couple times a year, I get together with brand and agency owners and teach them programmatic M&A. It's the playbook for anyone to do acquisitions, because over the last 25 years, I've solved my most challenging problems through acquisitions. And then my earlier career, I built brands in the beauty spray space that I sold online and in direct response, and did over $2 billion worth of sales.
How do you think about profit creation in your business or businesses? Walk us through the mindset and the tactical process that you have proactively addressed for things like gross margins or contribution margins in sales and marketing. So what's your framework, or almost like your first principles, to profit within a business?
Okay, my first principle is ingrained in my team. I don't give a shit about revenue. I care about profit.
Love it.
It is profit contribution and cash flow that will enable us to grow, create opportunities for the team, and allow us to over deliver to our clients. If we're and also pricing, I rather create pricing that is premium, that gives us permission to develop relationship with the best customers. And as important, good and great margins also gives the ability to hire great people, provide resources, and also to deliver. If we're on the other hamster wheel where we have this scarcity mindset versus the abundant mindset where we said we need to constantly be cutting our prices, therefore we have less margin, therefore we have challenge delivery, it's a run to the very bottom and it's a run to get out of business.
Love it. Now, if you're speaking to those agency owners, what does good look like? Or I call it, what does ideal look like from a margins perspective? If we want to talk gross margins, net income or profit margins, contribution margin, give a framework from your best practices.
And let me share this with you, Jamie, as well. I spent most of my life and most of my career building brands and businesses from scratch. If I look back to the successes I had, where I had the hockey stick of going from 331,000 in revenue one year to 100 million 3 years later, it was always a smaller acquisition that gave me the platform that allowed me to scale. From technology, from customers, from sales, it really doesn't matter. It's that platform. So I'm in the mindset now from an acquisitions on how to leverage that to scale. If I want a predictable way to scale my business by 25 to 30% every year for the next 3 to 5 years and create a liquidity opportunity, I will do that through acquisitions all day long. Everything else is a lot more risky and from a gamble perspective. But let me answer your question from a person who looks at businesses to buy. A healthy advertising agency has a net, whether you call it SDE, whether you call it EBITDA, whether it's net cash flow, of between, if it's 25 to 45, I look at it being a very healthy business. 20 is good. 15 is a little challenging. And the other thing, let me give context on it. I don't include media. So I include media margins. So if someone is an agency, they do $40 million in revenue, but 30 million of that is just pass-through from a client. I don't count that.
Yeah, 100%.
That's exactly it. But therefore, from a real net perspective to an EBITDA perspective, I'm looking at if I'd be challenged buying a business with a 10% EBITDA, even 15% from an agency. From an e-com's perspective, from a brand perspective, it's a different world. Margins are a lot lower there.
This is fantastic.